Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going deep, really deep, into something that I know is on a lot of people's minds these days.
Oh, yeah.
It's AI, but specifically how it's going to change, maybe even completely disrupt the way we work in America.
Big topic.
It is. And to guide our deep dive, we have a really thought-provoking article, How Artificial Intelligence is Shaping the Future of Work, America's Burning Questions.
This one gets right into it, doesn't it?
No kidding. We're talking about job security, the potential for AI to shift the balance of our economy.
Uh-huh.
Even some ethical dilemmas we might face that maybe we haven't even fully thought through yet.
Definitely a lot to unpack.
So let's jump right in. One of the first things that really grabbed my attention in this article was the sheer scale of potential job automation.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Seriously. Studies suggest that almost half,
Half.
yes, nearly half of all jobs in the U.S. could be automated in the coming decades.
I mean, that's just, wow.
Right. It really makes you stop and think.
For sure.
And the article makes it clear that it's not just, some far-off possibility. This is happening now.
Yeah, even as we speak.
Totally. And it makes sense when you think about the types of jobs that are most susceptible to being taken over by, robots or algorithms.
Right, it's the jobs that involve a lot of, repetitive tasks.
Uh-huh.
Or, physical labor, like factory work, truck driving.
It's already happening. Like, think of those self-checkout kiosks at the grocery store.
Oh, yeah, good point.
They're everywhere now.
It's like, poof, no more cashier.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what does this mean for folks who are, in those types of jobs now or who are thinking about career paths?
Well, one thing that's often brought up is retraining programs.
Right, so people can adapt and learn new skills.
Exactly, but there's a lot of debate,
Oh, yeah.
about whether those programs can really keep up with the speed of AI development.
It's like, is it even possible to train someone for a job that might not even exist in 5 years?
Right, it's like trying to hit a moving target, and the target keeps getting faster.
That's a good way to put it. It's constantly evolving.
Totally.
Okay, so we've got these huge potential job shifts on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
But the article also raises concerns about how AI might affect economic inequality.
Oh, absolutely. It's a major concern.
This idea of a two-speed economy really jumped out at me.
Yeah, that's a powerful way to describe it.
Can you explain that a bit more for our listeners? I'm not sure everyone's familiar with that term.
Sure. Imagine a world where you've got large companies.
The ones with tons of resources.
Exactly. They're investing heavily in AI because they can.
Right.
And they're reaping the rewards, seeing huge gains in efficiency and productivity.
Got it.
So they're kind of like those super fast bullet trains you see zooming ahead.
I like that visual.
But then you have smaller businesses, individual workers.
Who maybe can't afford to invest in AI.
Right. And they're struggling to keep pace, like they're stuck at the station watching that train speed away.
Wow, so we could end up with this widening gap between those who benefit from AI and those who get left behind.
That's a worry.
So what can be done about that? Does the article offer any potential solutions?
It touches on the need for policies that, make sure the benefits of AI are spread more evenly.
Like ensuring everyone has access to education and training, maybe.
Exactly. And it even mentions things like maybe exploring a universal basic income.
To provide a safety net for folks whose jobs are displaced.
Right, because this isn't just about technology anymore. It's about our whole society adapting.
Big picture stuff.
Huge. We're talking potentially fundamental shifts in our economy, maybe even in how we think about social safety nets.
Definitely makes you think.
It does. And there's another layer to this whole thing that the article brings up. Something that, I don't know, it kind of gives me the chills a little.
What's that?
It's the whole issue of AI being used for, workplace surveillance and data collection.
Ooh, that is a little creepy.
Right, like Big Brother vibes. Companies are increasingly using AI to track employee productivity, even their behavior.
Wait, really? How?
Think about it. Keystrokes, emails,
Oh, wow.
even movements tracked by security cameras.
No way.
It's all being analyzed by AI now.
So it's like having an invisible boss constantly looking over your shoulder.
In a way, yeah.
That's kind of unsettling, to be honest.
It is, and while the article mentions some uses that, sound reasonable, like analyzing data for security purposes or to improve efficiency,
Okay, I can see that.
it also raises this really important question for everyone listening. Where do you draw the line?
Between helpful tools and, straight-up invasion of privacy.
Exactly. Is it okay for your employer to track every single thing you do at work? That's something to think about.
It really is, especially with so much of our work being digital now. That line is getting blurrier and blurrier,
No doubt. And the article emphasizes the need for clear rules about all this.
like around data collection and transparency.
Exactly, so that workers know what data is being gathered, how it's being used.
And what protections are in place.
Absolutely. Because right now, it feels like the technology is way ahead of the regulations.
It's moving so fast.
It is. And that can be a little scary, frankly.
It is. And we're just scratching the surface here. When we come back, we'll delve even deeper into the potential pitfalls, the challenges.
Oh, yeah, we've got a lot more to cover.
We'll be back right after this break.
All this talk about, AI surveillance in the workplace, it really reminds me of when I first started digging into this whole AI thing.
Oh, yeah. What was that like?
I mean, I was totally fascinated by the potential, wow, this technology could really change the world.
I get that.
But at the same time, I was kind of freaked out by how fast it was all happening.
Makes sense.
It felt like we were building this incredibly powerful engine, but without really understanding how to, control it.
That's a good analogy. Like we're stepping on the gas without even knowing if there are brakes.
Exactly. And honestly, I think that feeling of being a little overwhelmed, a little scared, it's actually a good thing.
Really?
Why? Because it means you're paying attention, you're thinking critically about the implications, and that's what we need more of right now.
Okay, that's a good point. So I guess the question is, what can we actually do about it? Like, what can we do as individuals to prepare for this future where AI is, everywhere?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me in the article was this emphasis on, focusing on skills that are uniquely human.
Okay, I like where this is going.
The things that are really hard to automate.
Give you some examples.
Think like critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah, those soft skills that everyone always talks about, but that are, really hard to teach.
Right, because AI, at least for now, it's not so good at those things.
It can process tons of data, but it can't really, understand the nuances of human interaction or come up with truly innovative solutions the way we can, right?
Exactly. Like AI might be able to write a decent email.
Or generate a report.
Sure, but it can't build genuine relationships with clients.
Or negotiate a tricky deal.
Or lead a team effectively.
Okay, so it's not just about learning to code or becoming a data scientist.
It's about honing those deeper human skills that will always be in demand no matter how advanced AI gets.
That's reassuring.
And another thing, and this is kind of related, is embracing the idea of lifelong learning.
Oh, I've heard that phrase a million times. But what does it actually mean in the age of AI?
Well, think about it. The world of work is changing faster than ever before.
Because of AI.
Right, so being adaptable, being willing to constantly learn new things, update your skills.
It's almost like we all need to become students again.
In a way, yeah.
But that can be kind of exciting too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like constantly challenging yourself to grow and evolve.
I think so. It's like stay curious, keep your mind sharp.
I like that. Okay, so that's on an individual level. But what about as a society? What can we do as a country to make sure the benefits of AI are shared widely and that we're, mitigating the potential negative impacts?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
And the article suggests a multi-pronged approach, starting with education.
Okay, makes sense.
We need to invest in systems that prepare students for the jobs of the future.
Jobs that might not even exist yet.
Exactly. It's not just about teaching kids how to use the latest gadgets.
It's about helping them develop those core skills we were just talking about.
Right, like critical thinking, adaptability, that love of learning that will serve them well no matter what the future holds.
I love that. It's like giving them a toolkit for navigating an uncertain future.
That's a great way to put it. And we also need to think about how to support workers who are, displaced by automation.
Right, the folks whose jobs are being taken over by robots or algorithms.
Exactly. Retraining programs are one option.
But they need to be effective, right? Like actually tailored to the needs of the workforce.
Absolutely. There's also been a lot of talk about universal basic income as a potential solution.
UBI, yeah, I've heard about that, but I'm not totally clear on how it works.
Well, the basic idea is that everyone gets a regular payment from the government.
Regardless of whether they're working or not.
Exactly. And proponents argue that it would provide a safety net, allowing people to, retrain or pursue other opportunities.
I can see that.
But opponents worry about the cost and whether it might discourage people from working.
Right. It's definitely a complex issue with valid points on both sides.
It is. But it's a conversation we need to be having, especially as AI continues to transform the workplace.
Because it's not just about like throwing money at the problem
No, it's about creating a system that supports people.
and empowers them to thrive in this new world.
Exactly. And that's where the role of government and policy becomes crucial.
Okay, let's talk about that. What role does government play in all of this?
Well, one key area is regulation.
Oh, so like setting rules for how AI can be used.
Exactly. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we need clear guidelines to make sure it's being used responsibly and ethically.
So things like data privacy, security, even like algorithmic bias.
All of that. Because as we were talking about earlier, there's a real concern about AI being used for surveillance or to reinforce existing inequalities.
Right. So like we need to make sure AI is a force for good,
Yeah.
not something that harms or exploits people.
Exactly. And government also needs to invest in research and development.
Oh, to foster innovation in AI.
Yes. But also to address potential risks. Kind of like, if you're building a car,
Okay, I'm listening.
you want a powerful engine, but you also need reliable brakes and a sturdy steering wheel.
So you can control it.
Right. We need both to make sure we're heading in the right direction with AI.
I like that analogy. It's not just about pushing the technology forward at all costs. It's about developing it thoughtfully and making sure it serves humanity, not the other way around.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And it's not just about governments and big tech companies figuring this out.
It's about all of us, right?
Exactly. We need open and honest conversations about the values we want to embed in AI systems.
And how we can ensure AI is used for good.
Absolutely. It's about creating a culture of critical thinking around AI, where we're not just blindly accepting whatever new technology comes along.
But really considering its impact on our lives.
You got it.
This has been an incredible conversation so far. We've covered so much ground, from the potential for job displacement to the need for ethical guidelines and the role of government. It's clear that AI is going to have a profound impact on our lives.
No doubt.
But it's up to us to make sure that impact is a positive one.
Absolutely. We have the power to steer AI in a direction that benefits all of humanity.
That's an inspiring thought. It's not too late to shape the future we want.
It's not, but it requires us to be informed, engaged, and willing to speak up for the future we want to create.
Well said. And we'll continue this conversation in part 3 of our deep dive,
Can't wait.
where we'll explore some specific actions you can take to ensure AI is used responsibly and benefits everyone.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. It's amazing to think about just how much AI is already changing things.
It really is.
And we've still got so much more to uncover. So many questions about what this means for all of us.
It's like we're just starting to grasp the potential, both the good and, well, maybe the not so good.
Exactly. We've talked about job losses, economic shifts, the need for like totally new skill sets, even the whole ethical side of AI, which is
Huge.
huge. Like, are we creating something that ultimately helps humanity? Or are we building something that could, cause harm?
Deep questions.
It's a lot to process. But I think the main takeaway from our deep dive so far, from this article, is that the future of AI isn't like set in stone.
Definitely not.
It's something that we're all creating together right now. And that's both exciting and a little bit daunting, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah. It's like we're all holding this incredibly powerful tool, and we're still figuring out how to use it responsibly.
So what can we do? What are some concrete things that people can do to make sure that AI is a force for good in the world?
Well, I always say it starts with awareness.
Makes sense.
Educate yourself about AI, both the potential benefits and the risks.
Right. Like, don't just bury your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening.
Exactly. Stay informed about how AI is being used in your industry, in your community, in society as a whole.
So read articles, listen to podcasts.
Yep. Take online courses, go to conferences, whatever it takes to keep yourself up to speed.
Because the more you know, the more you're empowered to, actually do something about it.
Absolutely. You can also support organizations that are working to promote responsible AI development.
Oh, like advocacy groups and things like that.
Exactly. There are a lot of groups out there pushing for ethical guidelines, transparency in algorithms, data privacy, all that good stuff.
Okay, so find those organizations, maybe donate, volunteer your time.
Yeah. Even just spreading awareness about their work can make a big difference.
It's like being part of a collective voice that's saying, hey, we want AI to be used for good, not for harm.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of simply having conversations about AI with your friends, family, colleagues, whoever.
I think sometimes we forget that just talking about these things could be really powerful.
It is. The more we talk about AI, the more we normalize it, and the more we can collectively work towards solutions.
It's like, remember those self-checkout kiosks we were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of just complaining about them, let's have a deeper conversation like, what does this mean for workers?
Mm,
How can we create systems that support people who are displaced by automation?
right. It's about shifting the conversation from fear and resistance to, like, proactive problem solving.
Exactly. And another thing that struck me, and this might sound kind of basic, but it's so important, vote.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Your vote is your voice.
Right, we can support politicians who are actually committed to ethical AI
Who
policies.
prioritize things like data privacy, workforce retraining, equitable access to the benefits of AI.
It's a way to send a message about the kind of future we want.
Exactly, because we're not just passive bystanders in all of this. We have agency, we have a voice, and we need to use it.
Love that. It's like we're not just passengers on this AI train, we're the conductors.
That's a great analogy. We have the power to steer this thing in the right direction.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of, I don't know, kind of heavy stuff.
We have.
But I want to end on a hopeful note because I truly believe that AI has the potential to make the world a better place,
I agree with you. It's not all doom and gloom.
right? It's about approaching AI with like a sense of optimism, but also with a healthy dose of caution,
And with a willingness to engage, to learn, to speak up.
to be active participants in shaping this future.
That's what it's all about, right? It's about recognizing that the future of AI is in our hands.
Well said. This has been an incredible deep dive, and I hope it's given you, our listeners, some food for thought and maybe even inspired you to take action.
Me too. It's been a great conversation.
It has. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those tough questions about the future we're building together.